So with that type of one, what we found actually with local businesses as well is that, funnily enough, albeit that it isn't a complete indication that it is them and them only, if it's, for instance, that you want like hairdressers interested in hair care or specific brands or specific like celebrities around hair care and things of that nature, it's like, it's giving Facebook a nudge in the right direction. That's all you're doing with the interest targeting anyway. It's not like trying to find the interest in which only people that you would be perfect to help are going to be within it. So it's like nudging Facebook in the best direction, and then the ad image and the ad copy is going to get some people to stop scrolling and other people to not. Some people to click the button, some people to not, and that's where Facebook starts the learning process. So if you can, cast quite a wide net, but in the right direction, then that's going to be the best way to go. So if you specifically know hairdressers, then hair care brands and things like that. If you know some niche brands that they would be very familiar with, but maybe outside of the industry they might not be, those types of ones would be excellent as well. And also, by the way, like ChatGPT and things like that are amazing for ideas. Like, just throwing at them, this is specifically who I'm looking for the best interest to test. Because remember, when we're doing like the Shoney 255 method, we're testing quite broad anyway. So it's like, we don't have to be perfect with it. Very often the very interest that we're like, that's the one that's probably going to win here, that's very often the one that doesn't. And then it's the one that you're like, oh, I'm only putting this one in because Neil says I'm supposed to target 5 different audiences. That one ends up being the most successful one out of the bunch. And so in that scenario, using ChatGPT to give you some ideas and things like that as well can be useful.
I used ChatGPT the other day to create, I can't remember what it's called, but it's like a custom persona. And that was really helpful.
It's amazing with that.
So much information about.
I have conversations with my customer persona.
Yeah.
So I built it and I talk to it. So I'm like, so if I did this, how would you react? Yeah. And then it's like, man, that's shit.
Yeah. So I think that's good for like finding out where they would go based on interest.
Yeah, 100%. And so that's good for like your content strategies and things as well, like saying this is specifically who I work with, can you give me the top 10 pain points? When they say what their top 10 pain points are, okay, can you now tell me how these show up in everyday life? And then they're going to throw like a whole bunch of ideas for your daily content, but it can also help you with your ad copy, it can help you with your interest targeting and things like that as well, which can be good.
So I can just say I'm going to run a Facebook ad with the objective do X, Y, Z, come with interest target.
Exactly, yeah. But be as detailed as you can for them with who you want to target, and they'll come back with ideas. When I start to turn things on and turn things off, so just for context, in case anybody here has not ran any ads before at all, so we do the Shoney 255 method. It's 2 campaigns, and there's 5 audiences within each campaign, and then there's 5 or 10 ads within each ad set. For easiness of understanding, the campaign is like to 5-day challenge or a lead magnet or a live masterclass or straight to product, whatever that thing is going to be. It's like the overarching thing. We do warm and cold, people who know who you are and people who don't know who you are. The 5 audiences within, the cold audiences that we were just talking about there, that was like the interest, so it might be interested in hairdressing, interested in this, interested in that, interested in that. And so you give Facebook 5 audiences in each, and the thing that we're doing is basically spreading our bets. And Facebook are going to come back and show us the ones that get the best cost per leads, and we're going to ditch the other ones, and we're going to push all the budget towards all the winners. And it's the same with the ads that are within it as well. The ads are the images, the copy, the thing that you actually see in the newsfeed, and we give them variation with that as well. So essentially, when you go through our training, it's 42 minutes to set up the whole process. It sounds more complicated than it is. But basically what you're doing is you're giving Facebook 50 variations, and then you're going to refine from there. So your average cost per lead might be £3, but if you want to get it to £2, it's nothing more than turning off the losers and getting Facebook to force the budget towards the best audiences and ad creative. And so when you get to that stage and you're about to, you've got 3 days or 4 days or 5 days of data and you're about to start making some changes, what you're going to turn off, what you're going to keep on. Well, I always start with audiences instead of the creative. So with the audiences, you know if there's leads coming from it or not coming from it. With the creative, it gets a little bit more challenging. And this is something that could easily be talked about in the advanced ads, but it's quite a simple thing to grasp, is that when you look at the actual ads, which ones, the images, which pieces of imagery are outperforming the other ones. There might be one there that has no leads associated with it whatsoever. It doesn't have a very high click-through rate either. And when you go and turn it off in all the ad sets, your cost per lead actually goes up. And what's happening there is that Facebook, when you give them variation, like what did Phil say about like the 30 touch points before somebody actually hears something for the first time? It's like that with Facebook ads. So if somebody stops scrolling and maybe even hits the see more button, but they don't opt in, then Facebook is going to serve up one of the other ads to that person. So the ad that's getting served up the second, third, fourth, fifth time might be taking all of the credit for the work that was done by the other ad. So I put a lot of time and effort into making sure that the 5 ads that I create are actually good ones anyway. And as long as the cost per lead is where I want it to be or thereabouts, I'm not really touching anything there unless I need to make drastic changes. And so the main place where I'm turning things on and off is around audiences, because it's black and white. Is this audience working or is it not? With the ad creative, there's some data there, but you can't speak in absolutes. The only time that I would look at somebody's ad review, go into the ad specifically and say, right, well, you need to turn off image number 4. That's when it's like 0.13 instead of a 1% or whatever. So you're way off the mark. And in every single ad set, that one's always the underperformer. That would probably give me an indication it's probably not doing very much towards good outcomes. But outside of that, I'm not making too many changes there. It's usually within the audiences. So Facebook makes some pretty quick decisions these days based upon what they believe is going to have the best outcome, and they start to push budget towards certain audiences and certain ad creators and things like that very quickly. And so what I typically say to people is, because sometimes they're like, it's not pushing any of the budget to the other ads, so how do we not know that it's, it would be better spent over there? Well, the first question is always, are you happy with the cost per lead? If the cost per lead is already good, then I'm not messing with anything. But if the cost per lead isn't good and you think, hey, it might be because Facebook have pushed 98% of the budget towards the videos and not the static images, literally just turn off the videos. And in 2 days, you'll have your answer. Does the cost per lead go up or go down when the video is taken out and all the budget's forced towards the image ads?
Yeah, I'm making images that look good and they get no attention.
I know, yeah. Yeah.
Like if you want to double down on that kind of thing.
Yeah, for sure. Especially if you know that your audience react really well to video-based content, lean into it. Like my audience doesn't particularly lean in very well to video ads. More like static, keep it simple. This is the outcome. Do you want to come and be a part of it? Tends to work quite well for us. So I take that data into all campaigns that I do, and sometimes I do 5 images now with no videos. Right? But that's just for me personally. But I wouldn't suggest it for a client who is working in a different niche in which video can easily be the highest performer. For sure. As long as it's not completely disconnected, like taking social media content and turning it into ads is tremendous. People that we've worked with before that have been like high-end influencers and things like that, when they're usually built up through like recipes and viral reels around it, we usually get them to find the ones that had the highest engagement levels of like the last 6 months, and then we take it and then we chop it up, and basically it's like the whole reel, but we get them to film an outro that has them like giving them a call to action. So it's like, it can't be like, here's a healthy recipe, and if you want to learn how to tone up or whatever, then come to my 5-day challenge. It's a little bit too much of a disconnect. But if you want them to buy a recipe guide or recipe bundle, it's a perfect lead-in from there.
And how you feed into the CTA? Would you just like in the middle, add it in the middle, or just wait till the end?
Usually the end, because the ad copy itself can already be something that leads very much to the call to action. But we did this with like Fraser's ads, for instance, and they did like absolutely insane for selling recipe book bundles, straight to landing page, to checkout, to sale. And yeah, he's got tons of viral videos, so we just picked the best ones and chopped it up, and then at the end he basically just spoke it out, the call to action.
Okay.
Almost never. I've done it with one small group personal training facility in which they had a really, really good cost per lead. So I knew there was room there for them to be able to let the cost per lead get a lot worse than it was right now and increase the quality dramatically. Because they had really low cost per lead, the quality coming through wasn't good enough, so we put the price in the ad, and we just did it in the headline, so not in the copy, not in the image, we did it in the headline, and so it was like 30-day trial dash £139 or something along those lines, and the quality got way better on the other side. So at your price point, probably not.
That's what I'm saying. Like, would somebody not say that? I think like that, but like somebody else would say that. Well, like, well, I want to know what I'll get for that. I can't. I hate that. So it's like that's having days.
Well, the type of thing you say in your ads is like, this is really expensive, and things of that nature. So I mean, you're kind of leaning into it with tons of intrigue, but you say the number and the intrigue's kind of gone, and it's that type of thing of like, yeah, if they haven't spoken to you yet, then the likelihood of them even absorbing your price points and wanting to continue the conversation is like almost zero at that stage. You know, it's that type of thing that if somebody sees something as like $50, they'll say it's expensive until you give context to them as to why it's not. And so the sales call's that thing where you can amplify the value. And just for context, so Ryan sells fitness coaching packages online, but anywhere between like 5K and 8K in US dollars. So high-end clients, premium pricing, and to be able to get that type of client on a call, he has to speak very directly and has Marmite type comments of people that are just not happy with his ad, but it does get people coming in who are the specific type of people that he's looking for. But if you even had that conversation in the DMs, as soon as they saw that number, they'd be out, even though it's within affordability. But they speak to you, you're great at sales calls, they see the value in it.
Oh,
Oh, good.
Are you saying what monthly fee or a yearly fee?
Great. Exactly. Well, we just changed it because, like, even Neil was saying yesterday, he could afford what we charge, but he still would wait like $1,000 still for the line. Yeah. And so, like, our cash contracted, do like 700% for a cash collector, running 70%. It's like great in 6 months, 7 months, but right now it's like we want more money for that hip. Really. So we just changed it, so it's like we're bringing it down from 12 months to 6 months to $499. Most people still have their debt from that.
4995.
499.
Yeah.
For 2.5K down with 5 payments of 499. Sounds a lot.
Yeah. Which technically makes his program more expensive. But the thing is that selling something for 12 months as well, one of the biggest objections people have, especially when Ryan's working with people who identify as being busy, so like high-end CEOs, business owners and things like that, they don't know, they're probably curious as to how they'll perform in the first couple of months. And if they sign up to a 6-month program and make it to 3 months, then they'll probably be a bit annoyed with themselves, but they'll be fine with it. If they signed up and they only did 2 months of a 12-month program, they'd be absolutely furious with themselves. So a lot of people don't sign up for long time periods, not because they don't understand the value that you can bring them, they just don't actually know if they can complete the process. So they won't sign up. So taking it from 12 months down to 6 months actually will allow Ryan to sell at a higher price point per month, because it's a lower barrier to entry in terms of time.
People might stay on it.
Exactly, spot on.
So like, instead of waiting 12 months, like cash collect again, I wait 6 months, so we can't collect that. And I don't know, what's that, 18 months?
Yeah, exactly. And at that stage, and they know how vital you are, selling them the 12 months is going to be a piece of cake.
Service? So sometimes
Online fitness coaching, yeah. ad fatigue, I like never, and I mean I never ever look at frequency. The only time that frequency comes up is when our clients say it to me. So they say, I see the frequency is getting a little bit high. Does that mean I should be changing it? It's because everybody always has, like anybody who's in my position typically has their number. Once it gets to 6 times seen in 7 days, now you need to change the ad creative. My look on everything in business is money in versus money out. That's it. And if the ad is still rocking and rolling and making a great profit, I am not switching anything out whatsoever. So as you're scaling your ad campaigns, yes, the more you spend per day, the more people are going to see it, the higher frequency, and that can ultimately impact your cost per lead, cost per sale, etc. But if it's not, then it doesn't matter if the ad fatigue's at 32. You keep it rocking and rolling, and you keep bringing in those sales.
Same for sure it is the same, but same for a bricks and mortar.
Yeah, 100%. But with bricks and mortar, the ad fatigue is naturally going to happen faster. It doesn't mean that there's a frequency cap for you and there isn't for online coaches, but it is that type of thing that you've got a smaller catchment area of people. So if you start spending really big bucks on getting in front of people, then the same people are going to see the same ads continuously, and switching it up with the creative. And then sometimes once you've changed the creative a couple of times, you sometimes need to change the position of the offer a little bit, like what we do with Super Spike offers. So you might go from like 30-day trial to it's like a 6-week accelerator or something like that, to really like grab the attention of the people that have seen your ads for the last like 18 months. Specific area inside the country means a higher cost per lead, but you have the benefit of you do online and offline. So anybody that you speak to, even if they're there to speak to you about online, is a potential for offline coaching if that's what they're looking for. So you might end up having a really good lead to sale ratio by targeting locally, even though the cost per lead actually goes up. And it depends on what you like or don't like doing, but I've said it to some people before about localized ads if you're an online coach. If you want to run localized ads, it is going to be a higher cost per lead. But if you like the idea of doing things like get-togethers, meetups, Saturday morning runs through the park or something, like ways to connect with the people that you're bringing through who don't yet convert, or indeed maybe you actually like the idea of having client days and get-togethers, then this is a route that you could go down even for online coaching, is to target within, driving distance, whether that's 10 miles or 50 miles, depending upon where you are in the country.
As well, it aligns with me wanting to open a gym down the line.
Okay, great. Yeah.
Then more rapport locally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, well then that would be really good, and it would benefit you greatly going forward, even if it was for lead magnets and things like that as well. It just means that your email list is jam-packed full of people who are within driving distance of where you might ultimately open a facility. What type of price point are you thinking?
So this is not, I'm not trying to get money from the event. I'm just trying to build a community. So I'm doing a podcast, and I want to try to create a community there. In the future, probably make money from it.
Yeah.
It's just to try to build like a sense of community. So it will be probably like around 15, 20 pounds or something like that.
Yeah.
For like an event like that.
Well, I'd probably create the community ahead of time.
That's what I
rather than the event being the community builder. Mm-hmm. So if you run something like that where people are like, oh, that would be really good to go to and it'd be nice to meet people, but they feel resistance around like social situations and meeting new people and going somewhere where they don't know anybody, well, you're going to end up in a situation where you could have 100 people registered for it and then like 18 people show up. Whereas if you targeted locally to get everybody in the group that you were talking about, and you build the community around the fact that everybody is local anyway, and people get to know other people inside the group, and it's high engagement, and then you announce or you say something along the lines of, in fact, actually don't announce, ask them, I'm thinking about doing this, who would be interested? You'll end up with a ton of comments, and as soon as the first few comments come in, it'll be like that herd mentality. Everybody will start commenting down. And then that's your way of everybody feeling like we're kind of building this together, and it's really exciting that we're all going to get together because we're all inside this group together. That's the route that I would go down with it.
Yeah. So first in booking the group.
Yeah, but you can run ads to fill the group as well. I've done it with a lot of courses over the years, and with courses it's very difficult to send somebody to even a really good landing page and get somebody who wasn't aware, because on Facebook we're looking for them, not the other way around. So getting somebody to spark some interest but then decide to go through, read a landing page, go through, and then probably pay a half decent ticket price as well, making sure that they're available for the day, all of those things. The thing I found that has been much more successful, in fact there's two things that have worked well for selling courses, is one, waiting lists. So what you advertise is the waiting list, not the opportunity to purchase, and you sell through the waiting list instead. So if you can get 200 people on the waiting list who are personal trainers, who are within driving distance, and then you're announcing, hey, we've got over 200 people on the waiting list right now, there's only going to be 15 spaces on the day, you need to be ready on Wednesday at 10 a.m. because we'll be releasing spaces. That creates the urgency and allows you to create a lot of sales on the other side. The other one is messenger ads. So instead of getting them to opt in and book a call, and that's a very high cost per book call, and then nobody shows up to it and nobody buys from that strategy specifically, the messenger ads is straight into a conversation. You can just ask them some questions, see if it's a good fit. They'll ask you questions. Where is it? What time is it? Do you cover this? Do you cover that? You can overcome objections and then sell them straight in the DMs. You don't have to get onto a call with them unless it's like over $500.
Around 20 quid a day over there.
Yeah.
150.
New followers?
Oh, it has what I'm spending. Followers, they just, I don't know, this just...
Yeah. So you want to get Crystal on that over, let's say, the next 7 days. Know how much you spent, how many new followers came in off the back of it, and get that price per new follower. And just make sure that it is actually as good as you think it is, right? It probably is, but you just get really specific with it, and then from there you can work out, like, if I spend $20 per day, I get this many opportunities. It might be 18, it might be 62 for all we know. But if you get that many opportunities a day and we work with you on the script, like you said, 3K is the price of your program. So how many do you need to sell to make a ridiculous profit, But it sounds like right now it's worked really well, and you know the front end stats all work, but we actually don't have the data of like how many clients signed up off the back of this, because we're not making it like a transitionary strategy. We're actually doing it as sort of like, well, if I just do this in the background, then people will sign up 6 months down the line. But if we're quite strategic with how we're opening up conversations with people who have come through and followed, then you can say, hey, thanks so much for the follow, really, really appreciate it. Just interested, how did you find me? Now you know how they probably found you, but that's the conversation starter. And say, I just saw that carousel, I saved it, it was amazing, I've had gut health issues for the last 4 years, I've been here, there, and everywhere, and nobody's been able to solve it. Great, now you're into an absolute dynamite conversation.
Yeah, I can't see the follow. I was going to just look at the last 2 weeks. Well, that top they did. It's about 200 quid per client. But the percentage of the profile they did in select. But 4,000 they did working up. So 4,000 profile they did. Right. External tapping for 47, so I know I need to probably optimize my yeah.
What's your cost per profile visit?
How do I?
So it might be on the ad specifically, or if you've got Instagram on your laptop there.
And so that's the ad that's running.
So you run it here, you don't run it on Instagram?
I have ran it through Instagram, that's just the back end.
Okay.
So
if we come out of there, add tools. Is this running right now through Instagram? Is it one of these two? Oh no, sorry.
Probably not that one, not that one. That one, not that one. This one.
This one, happy days, excellent. So. Okay, yeah, so you've got like 2,000 people who have saved the post, which is dynamite. Ad stats, amount spent, daily budget, starting a link tab. So 1,405, which is decent. So what to do is take that follower count versus what you spend and divide it, and then we'll have a price per new follow.
Okay, cool, good.
And we'll go from there. But with things like the 3x Reels strategy, this is like a mindset thing with Facebook ads, Instagram ads, etc. For people who don't know it, it's really simple. It's about getting really highly valuable videos, putting them out there, and then boosting them to quite a generic audience, but the same audience for each one, to find the lowest cost per new follow that you can get, so that there's great opportunity daily to engage in conversations. Reason it works is because you've led with value, not, hey, I'm looking for 5 people. So it completely changes the dynamic. Second thing is nobody can follow you by mistake. So they have to watch the video, click to visit profile, read your bio, probably absorb more pieces of content, and actively choose to follow you. It's a really, really great strategy. But that type of strategy can feel so simple compared to like Shoney 255 method and promoting a masterclass and things of that nature, that people can't really compute that this can be something that they can spend $200 a day on. So 3 things is, number 1, it's going to be in the targeting. So that's going to be number 1 that we would always look at there. The second thing is going to be in the creative. So the creative itself should be like Ryan's ads are massively polarizing. The comments aren't nice, but the leads that come through are, right? And so they're massively polarizing because they very specifically call out a certain type of person, and it's the type of person that other people might not be too fond of. So you being able to very specifically talk to your target market through the creative is going to say, hey, Facebook, here's 1 million people to go and aim at. And very quickly, some people are going to react to it and some people aren't. And Facebook is going to find those types of people more frequently. I would add a third step in there, which is if you're going to use Facebook lead ads, then having the qualifying questions in there that says like, are you at this level of income in your career? Like those types of things that are kind of hard hitting, but it is literally the qualification for what it is that you do. So having some of those hard hitting questions, and they have to answer it. And Facebook allows you to say that if somebody answers it in a way that you don't want them to, so that says the wrong thing or clicks the wrong button, I should say, then they go elsewhere. It's basically like, well, it's probably not the right fit for you here. However, maybe I can help you in the DMs. Could be a good downsell from there. But if they say, yep, I'm earning over 75K a year right now, I've been in the corporate space for over 20 years, and I'm looking to change career, boom, your cost per lead might triple. But if it's absolutely dynamite people and you've got great pricing structures, then that's going to be a great win for you. And you're probably going to find that they feel like they've earned the right to be in the masterclass, and the show rate will probably quite dramatically go up as well.
You were training and doing that in the...
So not that specific thing, but I'll literally just create you a video. I'll create you a loom and just ping it across.
Across the board, all tribal ones, the cost per lead is really good. That's kind of the odds. So would it just be a case of duplicating the campaign and changing out the audience?
For further testing?
Audience is still yeah, it's a test, but it's also
well, scaling. So the first step is scaling. So you can do vertical scaling and you can do horizontal scaling. Vertical scaling is so simple. It's literally increasing the budget. That's it. And the cool thing with that is that most people don't realize also, because everybody thinks that if you scale, the cost per lead goes up, and about 80% of the time it does. But also, especially if you've been on a low ad spend, giving Facebook more to work with, you might actually find that as you scale, the cost per lead actually comes down sometimes as well, which can be nice. So you can actually be scaling and getting a better cost per lead. And so that's vertical scaling, and that's what you want to focus on until basically the cost per lead has gotten not out of control, but far off of where you are right now.
I like the results. I'd rather just do another campaign.
No, but that's a mindset thing. That's like you want to see that campaign absolutely kill it in terms of cost per lead. But if you start a brand new campaign and do it at $20 per day and the cost per lead is 4 times the amount, then you might even in a mindset way go, wow, that was just a testing campaign. But you would have been much better over 4 days spending 80 extra pounds on the first campaign and getting way more volume through. Because like you said, I'm already happy with the cost per lead. So why does it matter where they come from now?
10% every 48 hours?
No, so Facebook's own their own documentation is 20% maximum every 72 hours, but it's a load of rubbish.
Right.
Right. So it's not found in evidence at all. The only time that I scale slowly like that is when the cost per lead is just where it's acceptable. At that point, you need to be careful not to really shake the boat. When you have a cost per lead that is excellent, it means that you have really got something. You've got the right immersive experience or lead magnet or whatever it is. Your market really wants it. You've got the right targeting. The ad images and copy is working. When you've got all of those things in line, when you increase the budget by like 50% or even 100% or sometimes even more depending upon where you started at, sometimes you will end up with, like I say, a better cost per lead than you had originally.
Okay.
So it can be, it doesn't really tend to fall off a cliff.
So if I wanted to pause my campaign for 2 weeks, is it better to turn it off at the campaign level, or can you just turn it off at the ad?
Turn off the campaign itself.
All ready to go again? I didn't.
Flick the switch back on. That's it.
What is a good cost per lead, or does that depend on the product cost?
That completely depends upon product cost. It depends upon what it is you're sending them to. So big difference in a cost per lead if somebody's booking a call to discuss a product versus somebody opting into a 5-day challenge. So with yours, so give the example of the one, is it the one you just spoke to me about?
Yeah, well, just in general, but yeah, if you're charging either 50 quid or you're charging 200 quid,
Yeah,
assuming that there's lifetime value comes into it as well.
yeah, 100%.
Say specific.
So because you're like, you've got facilities, the way that I typically say is with facilities, if you've got a 30-day trial or a 6-week thing that you sell that has people coming in, or maybe 90 days or however long it's going to be, I typically say that what you're looking to do is break even or better on the front end, especially if it's a short time frame, and then everything else after that is profit. So if, for instance, you acquire 30 people in, but they paid a relatively premium price and they come in and you broke even on those 30, well, if you know that you've got a conversion rate of 60%, for instance, then you're going to have something in the region of like 18 or 19 people sign up for 12-month contracts the month after, which is going to be where all the profit occurs. And that's not to say that we like don't try and be profitable from the ads in the first place, but it's just to say it's 100% acceptable for it to break even or better, because all the profit happens on month 2 onwards. We usually go with direct call to action at that point. So where we say to most people, don't run ads specifically to a book call unless you're a facility and for a very specific reason. If you're an online coach, most typically if you send people directly to a place where they can book a call, it'll be a high cost per book call, nobody will show up, the people who do show up have no context, they don't purchase, so the money doesn't money, right? Whereas a good time to do those, direct to a place where they can apply for a book call, is when you create an audience of anybody that submitted a form in the last 90 days. So they opted into a masterclass, they opted into a lead magnet or whatever it may be, and you can even be specific about which form it was. So you can say, I know you attended the masterclass.
Mine was the question was more around our time between when they opted in for the live masterclass before they come. I mean, like warm those people up. What's a good way to do that?
Well, I mean, being really strategic, you could use ads, and you literally could do that, and you could say anybody that opted into a form in this form in the last 5 days gets these video-based ads or something like that. You could. That's very strategic, and it could be decent. But your best and most simplest bet is emails and also SMS. So like sending text messages. Text messages for ourselves was a huge difference in show rates. I know it was for yourself as well, made a massive difference. Cost per lead, almost identical, almost. It was a little bit more expensive when I added the phone number in, but I'm talking about like 2%, 3%, something like that. But so worth it. I think if it was like 20% higher, I'd probably still go with it, because without the SMS, it's a completely...
How many, because you don't want to spam.
Yep.
Good number, like messages, text and email to sell the field, like.
So the text message specifically, I send one 24 hours before, and then I send one, I think it is like 12 minutes before or 15 minutes before or something along the lines of that. And then they get a third text message, but that is the day afterwards saying, hey, the replay's here, so that I get really high views on the replay also. Well, some people in the group have absolutely loved using WhatsApp, probably more for the conversational side of things. So like if they're big into the DMs, having conversations and transitioning people into book calls and sales, it's dynamite for that compared to SMS. If it's literally just about getting their attention in the quickest way possible, I find SMS works better. And so I don't use WhatsApp as automations anyway for starting conversations. But I do use SMS as reminders for basically anything. So if somebody comes to a masterclass, they get a reminder. If they sign up for a lead magnet, we send them a text message immediately with how they can access it. And then if somebody books a call, they get their reminders through SMS as well. So that would be like VSL, that would be like very direct. Like immersive experience, most commonly we're talking about like live masterclasses or 3-day challenges and things like that. Absolutely though, you can send people straight to a VSL and get them to take some level of action on the other side. But if it was, for instance, to book a call, like again, the cost per book call is astronomical. Most people don't show up and most people don't buy because they don't have enough context for you. So putting them through something like live masterclass, 3-day challenge, or just like a passive lead magnet in which they can opt in, get the thing, but then also receive strategic emails from you on the other side. That's the thing that will more passively book calls or, you know, create like automatic sales if it's something that's within affordability.
Should you always do a replay?
A replay, so basically yes. So I've done it a whole bunch of times where it's been like there won't be any replay to encourage the show rates to the thing itself. But I found that so many people sign up for a masterclass these days specifically so they can watch the replay when it's ready. As in, like, they have zero intention of turning up to the thing live because everybody feels like they're busy and, hey, I probably won't be available on Tuesday night at 10 a.m. or 10 p.m. Yeah, the group strategy with it of like, you've signed up to the masterclass, now join the group where it's going to be hosted and things like that. It's a really cool strategy. You're going to be busy with it, but the opportunity is almost like higher because you can engage people, remind them about the replay, see who watched, see who didn't, who commented, open conversations. It's really good. It's like doing a 3 or 5 day challenge in which you don't have to do as much work in terms of live delivery. So I actually do really like that strategy. Personally, just because I am like 1,000,000% just about streamlining. Like me personally, everything that I can streamline, I streamline. And I run a masterclass about once every 2 weeks on a good month. Sometimes if like we've got live events and traveling and things, it'll be once in that month. But I'll usually go quite heavy at it, and I will get people to come specifically to Zoom and be there live, and then I take the recording and send it out and things of that nature. So it doesn't give me the same opportunity to open up conversations and follow up with people and things like that. But for me, it is basically like turn the tap back on, barely look at things because I know the system already works, and literally just turn up for an hour and just booking calls on the other side. Well, I keep it quite simple. I tag them with live masterclass in general. So it's like a list or a tag full of people who have joined any of our masterclasses in 2024. But the way that I got it set up, Graham showed me specifically how to do this. I've actually got a video on it. He'd more than happily do it for everybody in this group. But he has this really cool setting for automations in which it's like when they are tagged with this, set a timer for like the Tuesday at 2 p.m. and work backwards from there. And then he has his automations, which means that I don't actually have to change a single thing in the process. We turn our ads back on. I don't need to change the date. I don't need to change anything. It literally just people flow in, and in 5 days' time, for the people that immediately opt in, they're going to get the call link. Everybody's going to get everything at the same time.
people who have finished that, the kind of ad comes off again?
So I don't take the tag off. I keep the tag there, but they're out the other side of the automation at that point. And it just means that, like, if I want to do a strategy that is very, very specific, like an opportunity to speak to me directly rather than the sales team, or do you want to come to like this live event? We're opening up 5 tickets. Well, I'll go in and I will create a segment of people that have attended live masterclasses, or very specific things. And so I also tag people when they take action on the masterclass itself. So at the end of the masterclass, I basically say, so really simple, absolutely for free, you're going to get a Facebook ads course. It's our lead magnet, so our simplified Facebook ad course, some ad image templates, some ad copy templates, and hey, it's completely for free. They scan the code and they get it, but it also tags them. So I've got an audience of people that I know attended live and even requested the freebie at the end, which means they stayed all the way to the end. That group's relatively small, you could say. I think at this stage, after running quite a few of them, it's maybe about 1,500 or something. But that audience is absolutely dynamite. So it's really good.